visit. Lovely having you. You can come down and work with the Milwaukee family players whenever you like. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah. Okay. When you get upstairs, tell them I had nothing to do with him coming down here. Okay? Look, honestly, he just brought himself down here. Nobody just brings themselves down here. Are you mad? Nobody does. Even the gods don't want to come down here. He just brought himself down here. So I don't want anybody thinking I had something to do with this. I'm not going to be blanked. Don't forget the visa. Exit visa. Yes, I've signed it. Okay. Don't forget the exit visa. If he wants to come again, and he is perfectly welcome to, upstairs, get them to sort him out with a diplomatic passport. That way he can come and go. He gets the little silver acorns and the little silver pomegranate on a chain round his neck, and then he can just come and go whenever he wants. Okay? Good. You sort that, and then we're good. Okay? Make sure you do it. I am not getting in trouble for this. Good. Hello. Hello. This is a different thing for us. This is very different. It's not Shakespeare. It's not Shakespeare. We actually have a completely different play. A completely different playwright. He is so different. So different. In fact, he's so different. The playwright brought himself down here to teach the Milwaukee family players how to do it. We didn't invite him. He heard we were doing Waiting for Godot, and then, boom, he's down here knocking on the door saying, hello, I hear you're doing my play, and I'm here to make sure it's put on correctly. Apparently, this isn't just a play. This thing was an event. I've never seen anything like. He made the Milwaukee family players cry. No joke. They cried in rehearsal. The Milwaukee family players who bite their director, who snipe and argue and are just horrible, burst into tears and called him a monster. He is welcome whenever he wants to come down here. I had no idea branching out from Shakespeare would cause so much chaos. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Anyway, before we get started with Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, remember, there's a shop, yada, 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 have a look, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill, quack, quack, quack. We good? Like, subscribe, share the video, comment, or I'll come out from under the bed and scare you out of your wits. Okay, we're all good? Good. Right, so anyway, this play. I barely know where to begin. I barely know where to begin. It is so far outside of my frame of reference that at first, when I first watched their initial performance rehearsals, I watched their initial rehearsals, and I'm sitting there with my husband, and I'm saying, they told me this was the good stuff. They told me this was the good stuff, and I don't know. I think they're pulling our legs. I mean, if they're pulling our legs, I want you to go up and talk to Father, your brother, because I don't want to be made a fool of. But anyway, so I thought this play, because like literally nothing happens. twice. Nothing happens twice. I thought, what is this? I'm used to Shakespeare, lots of action, lots of plot, lots of characters. This is as far from Shakespeare as you can possibly get. So anyway, I watch it. I was sitting there having a nice evening of theatre, as we do. Milwaukee Family Players were remarkable. I mean, honestly, I could have assumed that they were the RSC. I really did. I have never seen them perform like that. Of course, on the other side of us was Mr. Beckett, Samuel Beckett, and he was sort of glaring at them. So I do think that they were a little bit frightened of getting anything wrong, I think. But while I stand by my statement that nothing happens twice, it's not a play about nothing. Or it is and it isn't. I asked Mr. Beckett, how do I understand this play? What is the key to this play? And he told me the word, which I will get to in a moment. But if you haven't seen this play, now I can't go through it like I do with the Shakespeares, because it has virtually no plot. It has 6 characters, 2 of which are more or less the same character. As so. Yeah. Anyway. Not kings and princes and knights and things like that. No. This time, 2 tramps. We start Act 1 with Estragon, who's having trouble with his shoes, his feet. And we meet his friend Vladimir. Now they go by Gogo and Didi. That's what they call each other. So Estragon is Gogo and Vladimir is Didi. So Didi has trouble peeing. Yes, he has the old prostate problems. They're both old men. They're both sleeping rough. They've both been sleeping rough for a very long time. Decades. They've been together for ever so long. Gogo and Didi. Gogo doesn't remember things. Didi doesn't forget things. They're very complementary. They meet at this place with a tree. Vladimir is the one who has all of the information. Vladimir is the one who tells them, why are we here? We're waiting for Godot, whoever or whatever Godot is. But Godot, it appears, is going to make them. They'll be able to sleep in the loft in the hay and they'll have full bellies. And they proceed to wait. There's a tree. They debate the merits of hanging themselves, though they don't have a rope. And they discuss some fellow who came a cropper with the Romans at some point, but you know, how many people came a cropper with the Romans? Some crucified fellow with a couple of thieves. But they don't do anything. They talk. Gogo falls asleep a couple of times. Didi needs to pee. And they wait. And they wait and they talk. And then 2 other people turn up. There is Pozzo, who appears to be a gentleman. And he is leading, carrying a whip, leading on a rope, Lucky, his servant, who carries bags. Pozzo sits down. He has a great trouble with sitting down and getting up and then wishing to sit down again and wishing to do it in a most dignified manner. And Pozzo and talks about things. He talks about his pipe. He goes to smoke a pipe, but he has lost his pipe somewhere. He assumes he's left it at home. And then he checks his watch, his half-hunter given by his grandfather. But before he leaves, that disappears as well. And Lucky is mostly silent. Lucky is mostly silent, and he's quite put upon and miserable until he's asked to talk, qua, qua, qua. And he talks until it is absolutely beyond endurance, his talk. And then they take his hat off. They have to take his hat off, and Pozzo destroys his hat. And eventually they leave. And then again we are waiting for Godot. A boy turns up and tells them at nightfall that Mr. Godot sends his apologies. He won't be coming today, but he'll probably come. He may come tomorrow. And that's the first act. And they go off to find somewhere to sleep. Act 2 begins, and this time Didi appears first and Estragon afterwards. Estragon has left his shoes at the end of Act 1 on the stage because they're too small and they're hurting his feet. For Act 2, the shoes are still there, except that they're not his shoes, they're larger shoes that he can wear. Well, he complains that he can't wear them because they're too big. Again, Gogo and Didi talk. Again, Lucky and Pozzo appear, except this time Pozzo is blind and Lucky is dumb. Before Pozzo and Lucky turn up, there is a very funny bit where Didi and Gogo switch hats over and over and over and over again until Didi is wearing Lucky's hat and Gogo is wearing, I think, his own hat. And Didi decides to keep Lucky's hat because his own itched him. It's actually very funny. But Pozzo and Lucky turn up and they fall down and they pull down Didi and then they pull down Estragon, and Pozzo is blind and Lucky is dumb. And they obviously fall often. But they finally get them up and themselves up, and then get them up, and then they leave again. And then again, waiting for Godot. Just waiting. Talking. Backwards and forwards. And again, the boy turns up. The brother of the boy. Same boy. Must be twins. And again, he says, well, I'm very sorry, but Mr. Godot is not here, is not coming. And then he leaves, and Didi and Gogo contemplate, well, maybe we could hang ourselves, but Gogo forgot to bring a rope, so they try with his belt, but that snaps before, when they just try how strong it is. And so they decide not to do that, and they leave. And that's it. And yet, it's not nothing. Vladimir is very, very interested in remembering and telling stories and negotiating stories. Estragon is very anxious about why are we here? What are we doing? He wants to be off. He wants to be moving. And he's always restrained by we are waiting for Godot. Pozzo places his position in his belongings, which includes Lucky. But at the same time, he is incredibly bowed down and encumbered by his belongings, which he is in some way subconsciously shedding. Something he doesn't necessarily want to do, but some part of him seems to need to be losing. Lucky is very much trapped in his in Pozzo's decline, like a planet around a collapsing star. His decline and Pozzo's decline are linked. Lucky used to be a great, able to think and dance and sing, but now he is a shadow of his former self, and by the end of the play he can no longer even speak. His identity is entirely mediated through Pozzo at this point, and yet his silence is capable of contradicting. It's a fascinating play. When I asked Mr. Beckett, what is this play? What does this mean? And I'm pretty sure he would have been more grumpy if I wasn't me. But he said the key to this is waiting. And then I understood. It's everything that they do, all their suffering is in the waiting. They don't have to be in this blasted heath. They don't have to be waiting for Godot. They don't have to be endlessly spoiling out the stories of the past or the hopes to the future. They could just live. Like the tree. It is bare at the beginning, but has leaves by the second act. That they are in a cycle, an endless cycle. That's what happens down here. People seem to think that we live in a world that tortures people. On the whole, no. Unless you've been really bad and we had to plunge you right down into Tartarus, which is more a prison than anything else. This is where the dead live. And the dead, like the gods, are outside time. If I lived in a world of time, in anxiety and regret, the gods would have gone mad long ago. But the gods live in an eternal now. And when the dead learn that you live in an eternal now, you enjoy what is happening now, then they get peace. Not until then. Sisyphus, he's been at that boulder so long. Sisyphus has just been going over and over and over and again. And if he could find some joy in the action and not have the anxiety that when he gets up in the morning, not that there is morning, because it's no time, but when he gets the boulder to the top, that it will roll down again. The fact that he projects himself into the future to have that anxiety and projects himself into a past and regrets having got himself into this situation is why he is in this perpetual cycle. If he could get joy in the task, he would be free. Waiting is torture. You creatures with linear lives, you live with one foot in the past, one foot in the future, and the now. That brief lightness that Pozzo describes, you miss. You miss worrying about the past and the future. Then I understood it. Then I had a way to understand this play. And the rhythms of this play. Wow. I mean, it is a play full of silences. It's not like Shakespeare, where the rhythms of the play build and build and build and build and build like Baroque music played well. Not that I'd ever know what Baroque music played well sounds like. But into like shimmering castles of language that then dissolve. No. This is beats and pauses and a sort of a jazz, a syncopated jazz. One where the pauses are just as important as the notes. And those pauses can last so long. I mean, I swear, I would watch them. Watching the play, you could see the Milwaukee family players were just like holding it in as hard as they could, because their style of acting is like blurt it all out as quickly as humanly possible so that you don't forget your lines. Oh my goodness, the actor who played Lucky. And they like doing it like that. But it was like faster, 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 and so many words. It's a tour de force, that role. Very quiet role. Very physical. And that the other thing, it's not just the silences, it's the physicality of the actors on this bare stage with only a tree. There is only sound and body to give you anything, because nothing is happening. Well, nothing that we would conventionally say is narrative or character or plot. And yet, it is a most fascinating play, and I really think it would be quite interesting to bring some of the things that the Milwaukee family players have learnt from their performance of a Beckett into their performance of Shakespeare. I think King Lear might benefit. Yes, I could see a very bleak Beckettian King Lear in our future. I must get our director onto it. Anyway, that is Waiting for Godot. I really thought they had tricked us, but it turns out it was a fascinating play. I would recommend it. I would. But next time, we're going to be doing something very much more, I believe, more conventional. I don't think we'll have any playwrights coming down to supervise the performance. But next time, we are going to be having a look at a play from the great southern land. The summer of the 17th doll. I am stepping on everybody's toes. So, until then, bye-bye. If you would like to support this channel, come across to the Black Cockie Press website, www.blackcockiepress.com.au, where you will find books and other writing services to help with your writing.